is we are going to build our own app. Okay. And let's see. I mean, I'm going to take a big risk, but I guess it's all internal audience that if I'm unable to do it, at least I'm not risking a deal here, right? So let's see. And where do I start from? I start from nothing, right? So what is the time? It's 9:15 a.m. Okay, and I'll try to be fast. Okay, this is my switch. I don't have anything here. Show run analytics. Oh, it doesn't even run. Show run telemetry. It doesn't even run. There's nothing here. Show run include analytics. Nothing. Show run include telemetry. Nothing. However, what I have with me is a Linux machine. This is a brand new install. There's nothing that I've done on it. The only things I've done is like basic. I've set up DNS servers, NTP servers, things like that, so that my date and time date is the command. Yeah. So see that NTP is enabled. It's synchronized. Okay. I need, what do I need? I need a receiver to receive the analytics metrics. Then I need a database to store the metrics, and then I need something to visualize it. Okay. So I'll go and do that. One of the receivers that Cisco has funded is the open source project called Telegraph. Okay, so you go to influxdata.com or just Google out for installing Telegraph. There would be a link for that. You go to download page. Don't want to register anything. Just go to download. I'm running CentOS, and I go to my server, download it, and sudo yum local install and install it. Is this okay? Yes, that's my receiver. Now, I want to change something in the receiver. Now, before that, let me also install my database, because this is just my receiver. It's going to listen to the gRPC stream coming in from the switches. So for that, there is a time series database that the same company has built, which is called InfluxDB. So I go here. By the way, you can use any other thing. And this is just a demo and one of the options, not the only option. So I download that database server, and then it tells me how to install it. Just the yum local install, standard way. Whatever your operating system is, just do whatever you want, right? And now I start the services. So now before that, I want to change my etc telegraph conf file. Okay. And here, if you go on the InfluxDB Telegraph page, Telegraph has a lot of plugins. As you can see right here, there are 183 plugins. There are 36 output plugins. So essentially, you can receive data from almost every freaking source, at least any source that I can think of that can send data, and I can send data to any other source that I can think of. So I go on input and I search for Cisco. Oh, wow, looks like Cisco guys have already done something. And then there's a model-driven telemetry plugin. There's also GNMI plugin. By the way, what is GNMI? GNMI stands for gRPC Network Management Interface. On MDS, we don't do all this fancy stuff. It's not required. Okay, so we're going to stick with model-driven telemetry plugin. When you open your file, the config file, etc telegraph.com, did I do sudo with it? No, so I can't edit. Okay, this is real stuff, right? So I search for MDT, and how many lines of change I'm gonna change? 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. That's it. Okay, remember what it's doing? It's listening to gRPC and it's listening on this 57,000 port number. Save and close. Systemctl start telegraph, and I also want to start my database server, InfluxDB, influx. Oh,
it's typoed. UX, not XU. There you go.
Okay. My database server is on, telegraph in on, sudo systemctl status telegraph. That's okay. It's just complaining that it cannot send to InfluxDB because InfluxDB we started later. Okay. Now I want to send this stream from the switch. Okay, so let's go to the switch. Let's start configuring our switch. And now I'm
Paris,
not going to.
one question here. If you scroll your screen up a little bit when you were modifying the file in the MDT section, I noted something here exactly. Clearly, this file says Cisco model-driven telemetry input plugin for iOS and Nexus OS platforms. So it means the same stuff would work for MDS and even the Nexus 9000 series. But I've been told that the telemetry on the Nexus boxes is totally different and incompatible with telemetry on MDS. So I don't really understand what's the meaning of this sentence here.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is our switch. First, I want to enable analytics, right? Feature analytics. Then show module, where do I have 32 gig module? I have slot number 1 and 2, and then show where do I have traffic flowing, show, let's say, topology, show interface port channel 2. I have 1/15 and 2/16. So I go here, interface FC 1/15, and do I analytics type FC SCSI? No, is that it? Yeah, FC SCSI. Okay, so my metric collection has started. How do I verify that? Show analytics query. Select all from FC SCSI.port. Yeah, okay. One record only, remember? Because this is a port view, and I just enable analytics on one port, right? On 1/15. I have metrics here. Next step is I want to send this out. Because right now only metric collection, the traffic inspection and metric collection is happening. I'm not sending it anywhere. So for that, I need to run a query that runs every 30 minutes or 30 seconds, sorry, not minutes, 30 seconds. So for that, I go here and do analytics query. And a word goes here, a string goes here, is the same string that goes here. No, select all from FC SCSI.port. This is my query. Okay, I do a question mark. It says, what is the name? The name can be, let's say, boot camp type, periodic. I run this query every 30 seconds. That means we send 30 seconds interval, 30 seconds. And you can do clear and differential. Remember, these are the things we talked about. I'm not going to do it. I'm just demoing it to you. Okay. So now the metrics are pulled from the NPU every 30 seconds, but we are still not sending them because sending is done by what? Telemetry, feature telemetry. So I go here and I enable feature telemetry. And then I need to configure telemetry, but I'm not going to do that because remember when you use SAN Insights to configure it on a switch, SAN Insights does it for you. So I'm going to just copy my config from there. Right, so I create a sensor group. In the sensor group, I need to specify this path. Remember, guys, when you do path and do an option, you're not told anything. Okay, so it's very important you stick to the syntax. There's no help here. Analytics : what do I use? I use the name of my query. Enter. Okay, this is exactly what DCNM does it. This is the name of the query that DCNM configured. Okay, then I go to my next level and I say destination group 1. This is where I'm going to send the output of the query. So for that, I use IP address 172.22.163.216. Was it 216, my server? Yes, it's 216. Followed by port. What was the port? 57,000. Protocol. Fausto. See that? 4 different options. On
Yes.
MDS, we just support all of them. No, just None of them, only one of them. I'm sorry for that. On MDS, we just support one of them. That's gRPC. We don't support UDP, TCP, HTTP. Not required. On Nexus and iOS XR, you may have all these options. There's a lot of details in this particular topic. Okay, this is a quite complicated, not quite, it's very complicated topic if you try to go in detail of that. There's like, you can actually configure your switches using telemetry. That's like, and even if you don't configure, there's a whole, Yang models that you can follow and like monitor your switches. It's essentially a full-fledged network management interface. That's what the name says, the GNMI. You can do a lot with it. On MDS, there's just one use case for it, which is to export those millions of metrics at scale. So that's why, short answer to a question that how do we do it differently on MDS? You see that even encoding, you can do a lot of them. On MDS, we just support two of them, either GPB, which is the key value format of sending, or compact GPB, which is the binary format. If you remember, I talked about it on day 2. And you'll see a snip of that in a few minutes. So encoding, I'm just going to use GPB. I'm not going to go compact GPB for the demo. Okay, so this is my destination, and then I want to configure the subscription. So I go to subscription, sensor group 1. This is the same sensor group 1 I just configured, and then I attach that subscription to my destination group 1. That's it. So if I do show running config telemetry, looks same as the working switch. Yeah. So at this point, it should be sending show telemetry transport. Oh, transmit error. Right. Remember, we configured it on Telegraph. We started Telegraph server. It should be running, right? Also, take a guess. What's missing? See that Telegraph service is running. Tell me, you know the answer. You have asked the question so many times. It's my turn to ask the question to you now.
How about an IP route?
No, it's there. I can ping
Firewall.
the IP.
Yeah.
Ah, who's that?
Former
Yeah.
Linux guy.
Yeah. So I need to open a lot of other ports because these services are talking to each other. But I also want to open that 57,000 port, right? That's where it's a TCP HTTP port. gRPC runs on top of HTTP and HTTP runs on top of TCP. So that means I'm going to open that port and I reload my firewall. So make it happen. If it doesn't run wrong, come on. Okay, just wait or what is it? Ah, came up. Okay, so the receiver is listening. But guys, remember, just because your tunnel is up, that doesn't mean data is going. They're two different things, right? Transport and encoding. So there's a different command for that. Show telemetry data collector brief. Oh, 4 successful. You see that 4 messages are successful. Had this been failed, this could be easily possible that you get transmit error here under show telemetry transport, but you get a failed here, right? Because this command is about transport, right? My gRPC tunnel is up or not, but this is about whether data is being successfully sent because there's an acknowledgement happening at the transport layer. I mean, different layers, they have acknowledgement. Oh, number 5, you see that incremented 5. That makes me happy. So the demo is going good. Next step, let's log into the database. By the way, it's the same machine. Remember, I'm not, just because I'm using 2 terminals doesn't mean I'm going to this different machines. Full transparency here. So influx. Yeah, by the way, you don't really have to worry about all these things. Databases. Use Telegraph. And show measurements. Like measurements are like tables, and you see something like this, right? This table is there. You do show. You can do select star from this. Let's see. Oh, see something there? At least these are valid numbers, right? However, there's something that we must change. If you do, and this is about very specific to this database only, right? But I have to change it because we want to build a full app. So we do show field keys from. Oh, this is all good. Okay, yeah, right. Now I need a front-end visualization engine, and in this example, so remember, guys, what's happening? The data collection and the data inspection is happening on the switch. We did that. Show running analytics. Okay. One line of config. Second line of config to collect the metrics every 30 seconds. Then we are exporting the metrics using telemetry. On a remote receiver, it's receiving the metrics via the telegraph process via our 3 lines of config, which is etc telegraph.conf. 3 lines config change, right? After that, it's there in the database. So what's next? I want to see my IOPS, right? Show me the IOPS. So for that, I'm going to use Grafana as front end. So for that, just go to grafana.com or just Google out for Grafana download this thing, their RPM or whatever your OS is. And install it. Grafana needs port 3000 open. I already opened it, I guess, a few minutes back, because that's where it runs. And then I start this service sudo ctl start no, Grafana server. Okay, if not, I should enable port 3000, which I did already when I was opening all the other ports. It's already enabled. That's nice. Okay, so let's open it. STG TME LNX 6. Grafana by default is run on port 3000. Okay, and I can go add new panel. Do I have my data source? I think so before you do that, let me just remove it. I think it's coming from the previous. It didn't really clean out everything when I was doing it. So before you start, you need to add your data source. So because my data source, the data is going to InfluxDB, I do that. And then I need to do, this is where localhost 8086. So this is the reason I opened 8086 port, because that's where my database listens on. Totally depends on your database. Telegraph is the name of my database within the database server, right? And then save and test. Okay, looks like it's working. So we go and create dashboard, add new panel. Okay, default, select measurement. We see the name here, right? This is standard way of Grafana working. Then I can do my source. Oh, you see that? The name of my switch, port. See the name of my port here? And then the value. There are tons of values here. By the way, what is this? Does it make any sense to you guys? What do you think it is?
Short
Got
name.
this on day 2, yeah. So remember, we do not want to send the long strings. If you go to the switch and you do show analytics query name, show analytics query all, and then query name bootcamp result. We don't want to send these long names, because remember, if I'm consuming 1 byte to send 1 character of a string, how many characters I'm sending to just send this information? And then I'm sending 40,000 such flows every 30 seconds, just like too much of wastage of my capacity, right? even though I'm not going to compact GPB, we still came up with short versions of these strings. We have that fully documented when you go in appendix of the official config guide. Right here. And you see these small names here. So what I'm looking for, I want to plot my IOPS graph. And how do I do my IOPS graph? The total IO count. Where is my total IO count? I can do total IO read IO count. Yeah, so I need this thing, RTIO, okay? So I copy this, go to here, search for it, and looks like total read IO. See that? Something popped up. Okay. But is this what I want? Do I want my total read IO count? Is this what are going to give me IOPS? No, remember it's the total count, right? Like I need to take a time difference since last change. That will give me IOs per second. And how do I get by second? By dividing by what? Dividing by this difference, the difference of these two things. We have done these calculations back. So what I've done, I have written the query. And by the way, guys, you'll get access to all of this, right? I have it documented here. So what I do, I just go to advanced mode and throw the query here. So I'm taking a difference. This is the capability of the database directly, again, depends on your database. So I select the difference of the values, divide by difference of the time values. You see this thing is time as read IOPS. And here, another thing that I should be doing is tag this value. And call no data. No, this should be bootcamp. Okay. And I can do show as table to the right, show me my current value. This is all standard Grafana functioning. Okay. And go back to my, maybe, you know what, now that I have read IOPS, I want to do write IOPS too. So I change it to write and I do write IOPS. Okay. Go back to my panel, come here. And I want to say, just why don't you just refresh yourself every 30 seconds and then do last 30 minutes? Okay. You see these numbers here? We go back to the switch. What is my rate? Something like 24,894 write IO rate and read IO rate is around 26. Is this what I got to see here too? And you let it run for a month, you'll have a month of your IOPS sitting here. How long did it take me? If we end up spending a lot of time in talking, but I would say 20 minutes. When one of the big values of our offering is it's an open and programmable solution, right? And these points are not just for because everybody's saying that and we have to put it. No, this is a reality, and you saw me doing that today. I changed the output of show analytics command in front of you within 10 minutes. I kind of built my first graph on an analytics app within 20 minutes. If a customer can invest a month of their time with the right expertise, with the right set of people, in a month, they can do that. Like, back in the days when people said that, hey, yeah, we're going to use DCNM, but we're going to use something else for SNMP export of the metrics. And, so does your product or do your product support that open export? Yes, we do. So now I'm thinking, do you think you are more confident now in talking to your customers and saying that, yes, I've seen this, it takes 20 minutes to make it happen. You can do it too if you want to. And that is the value that we are trying to bring to the customers. Yeah, guys, and the full transparency, plotting one graph is not going to solve anybody's problem. Okay. There's a long journey from this graph to make a full analytics app that solves the customer's problem when they want it to solve, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to downplay this thing. This is not easy. A journey after this is not easy. Yeah, so that's where the value of DCNM comes in, right? And we don't want to underplay it because that's what a customer uses to solve a problem. Like if I open DCNM and like those top 10 charts that you see, right, that's where the value is for a customer. But at the same time, when we say that our solution is open, that you can integrate with anybody who can receive these metrics. And by the way, we are not leaving our customers alone with no help. We actually funded a receiver to make it happen, right? And you saw a guy doing it in 20 minutes. These things are reality. But at the same time, yes, there's so much investment that we are making in solving that problem for our customers. Something like you go sign inside, you see top 10.